People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good evening, I hope you're all doing well and safe. Now obviously at this point, no doubt you've seen the news in relation to Raul Sanllehi has left his position at Arsenal and Vinay has taken his position subsequently. Now there were some rumours on Twitter, I'm sure you all saw them. Again, we don't know which source is credible and which isn't and all of these sort of things, but you did hear some rumbles in relation to Raul Sanllehi leaving, and it is a shocker. You know, unless you was involved in the club, many people couldn't see this, and we know there's been several structural changes at the club if we look at it. You know, clearly the club is being streamlined. On one hand, yes, the job cuts are upsetting for the honest man and woman trying to pay their mortgage, but on the other hand, you know, could you argue the club is being effective if you're, you know, scrutinising every position and seeing if it's worth the money and putting resources elsewhere. Obviously a bulk of this is due to COVID and whatnot, but it is a bit of a shocker purely because he's not been in the hot seat too long. You thought that Raul Sanllehi was at least going to be here longer in terms of what we tried to set out under his countryman Gooner, which we failed to do, and now Arteta in that returning Arsenal immediately into the Champions League, potentially then after that, you know, trying to win trophies and things like that while seeing homegrown players. You know, this was a man who came out and said outsmart the market and things like that. So it is a bit of a shocker. Why he left, I guess we'll never truly know why. There could be a variety of reasons as to why Raul Sanllehi left his helm. Again, you know, the first one, and what could be the easiest, maybe he just, you know, he's felt in any working environment that he's overgrown this position now and he wants to go off and do something else, which is fine. Has there been discontent? You know, has there been rumours of, is he doing his job? You're seeing a lot of things come out in relation to the Pepe deal. I don't want to speculate and waste my time in this video on it, but apparently he's been earning commissions and, you know, getting brown envelopes, as Curtis said when I spoke about him and live streamed earlier on my channel. You know, personally, I don't have nothing wrong with people getting brown envelopes. Of course, you don't want to hear it, but that's a common thing in football at all levels. And to be fair, certain other executives that used to play for Arsenal, they were notoriously known for that, but they cared about the club and were bringing the business. So if you're making money as well as that, while I don't want to see it in an ethnic world, it's kind of calm. You know, this was a reputation, and again, this is just speculation. You know, I'm not questioning his integrity or anything. These are rumours that followed him from Barcelona. So why he left, I don't know. You know, Tim Lewis, I believe his name is, came in as a lawyer and whatnot to the club. Maybe we've screen tested it. You know, Raul Sanllehi's been here, he's failed to deliver what he wants to do. Now when you look at Raul, he's a nice guy and whatnot, and you know, you lot know the memes and the gifs and the different knock FC and things, but has he, you know, if we just look at it as fans, has he done his role here? Now give him some credit, he probably has. You know, we were saying last summer, regardless of how in hindsight Pepe, Ceballos, Luiz, Tierney, Martinelli, and if we bought anyone else, Leno, no, I'm tweaking about we bought Leno. Regardless of how they turned, them players turned out, we were saying that by Arsenal standards, that's a decent season. For me, when I look at Raul Sanllehi and I think of just his legacy at Arsenal or what he leaves behind, or just looking at his body of work, as an honest fan, just looking at my club without knowing any finer details, you're really struggling. Because for me, when it, apologies for the noise, my neighbours are going crazy, people. I'm not playing these tunes. I really apologise if it's ruining your viewing experience. But as I was saying in relation to Raul Sanllehi, people, it can be a bit gazy for him because you look at the legacy, what has he set? I do think he verbally writ a lot of checks that he's failed to physically deliver to the fans. You know, he's dangled carrots. The first one and the biggest one for me was, you know, we've seen several incidences of players' contracts. Ozil signed one, so did Bukayo Saka, but there was the rumblings, you know, there was the speculation because we're running down, their contracts were running down. We've previously, well, we've right now got Aubameyang, you know, we've had Alexis Sanchez, and, you know, we've had Van Persie. Even when he left, did he not have a year on his deal? Forgive me if I'm wrong. And so it's been a soap opera. So as an Arsenal fan, that one day was music to my ears. You know, he was saying, last 2 years, if you're not, you know, we want to see what you're on. If you don't want to stay here, we're getting rid of you. And that's what I wanted to see. Because first and foremost, we know renewing deals and keeping stability is key to what any successful club or teams that aspire to do such needs to do. So that was music to my ears. When he was talking about outsmarting the market, that's music to my ears. Because again, and this is where it's probably down to fans to not take 2 and 2 and get 5 and just wait for what's happening. When I'm personally hearing outsmarting markets and I'm looking at Arsenal in that we can't really go toe to toe with the, you know, the real quality players. We can try grab one, but if a bidding war starts, you know, our purses ain't that deep. Or if, for instance, if we tried to buy Jadon Sancho, we can't buy Jadon Sancho because he's out of our price league. We need to get him when he wants to leave City or before he even touches City. So when I'm hearing that and I'm looking at our model and just what we try to do as a club developing youth players, again, music to my ears, outsmarting market. Are we going to, you know, we're hearing this man's got contacts and whatnot with this guy and that guy in South America. I'm looking at that, and in football terms, I'd consider South America an emerging market. This is where you find the stars of tomorrow, like Martinelli, before the other boys, the other clubs take on him and whatnot. Even, I know it's not the same part of America, but Alphonso Davies, you know, imagine we scouted him and you got him and things like that. These players are not, they have to come from somewhere. So I thought, you know, we're going to try and do that. We're going to try and find these players of tomorrow for resale value purposes, for outsmarting the market purposes. So contracts that, and obviously bringing in players, you know. When you look at it, outsmarting the market to me is not bringing in David Luiz, because look at the financial outlay. I'm not getting at him, I'm just looking at the figures. You know, David Luiz has had spells where he's shown that certain things that have played his career will stay. Equally, he's had good form, but to a degree, you get what you pay for. Sometimes when you try and cut costs, you know, it costs more. And you know, I look at that. I look at Unai Emery. Again, the fans we were hearing, when it did come time for Unai Emery to stay, he wanted him to, to leave and whatnot. He wanted him to stay. So, again, is that the right decision? Because in hindsight, you know, we look a better fit with Arteta and things like that. You know, for me, I was hearing South American contacts and this contact and whatnot, and I thought he was going to do his bit for us. You know, we know he's not necessarily works for transfers. He's more the finances. But, you know, indirectly, these roles all interlap and whatnot. I think the only successful thing he did was obviously win the power battle between Mislintat and him. And now obviously when I see him go, the first thing that I think of as a fan is direction now, because yes, I know, I believe in Arteta, I believe in what Arteta wants to do. Obviously it's music to my ears in what appeared to be a head coach model. We've now got a manager, which we're being told him and Edu are in charge of transfers, so he has a bigger say. But at the same time, you know, I'm thinking about direction, because, you know, few people, unless you're in the know, would have thought he was going to leave. Nobody saw it. It is a bit of a shock, and you've lost Mislintat, who very much was trying to outsmart the market in these things, whether you like him or not. You've lost Raul, which apparently looked to be more of an agent-led model and things like that. So what are we trying to do as a club? What I would love to know, which I will never know, why specifically has he been let go? Has he failed to deliver what he's told the board he can do? Has it been a performance review and ultimately it's just not a cut? Are we moving in another direction? Ironically, Kaya Jarupkin, people, if you remember correctly, indirectly, when you look in hindsight, the clues were there. Did he not say there's a lot of structural changes at Arsenal to be made? And we've seen other staff lose their job. We've seen long-lasting scouts lose their jobs. Now Raul Sanllehi is now going to be replaced by Vinay. And, you know, you're even hearing Hosfame might even leave as well as part of the shake-up. You've also, if we look at the wider picture even more, Mertesacker at academy level's been heading the streamlining in terms of, you know, youth scouts and things. So there's been a structural change. Is the game, in terms of Arsenal, are we moving away from that, and what are we doing? And if we look at Kaya Jarupkin, like I said, he indirectly said, you know, there's structural changes to come, which kind of scares me. And he kind of criticised Mislintat. And again, I'm not saying that he's in a position he's not, but when you consider that he is Edu's agent and he's got a couple of players now within the club, I'm not saying he's evil or any of these things. It is a bit concerning and things like that, people. And it does make me wonder, where are we trying to go? Because right now, as a fan, and again, things are got to come and there's changes, like I'm saying, there's changes happening, there will be things. But what is our model now? What are we trying to do? We know we're trying to do, or we thought we did, we're trying to do this Martinelli finding these stars and the Sakas promoting them. Obviously bridge the gap with experience. But even when all these guys were here, it didn't work. You didn't really see a clear philosophy. You know, we talked about collaborative ideas and, you know, we all have differences, but we come together. Has the working relationships with Raul Sanllehi been severed? Has he failed to really cooperate and things? Has his views been different? Has he become disillusioned with a regime? Has he just been simply let go? Has, you know, this Tim Lewis guy, I'm not saying he has, you know, he's a lawyer, he's coming to balance, try and look at balancing the books. Has he deemed that he's not there? And to be fair, when you look at Kroenkes and that, the track record, when you look at them, Raul Sanllehi, I don't know what's happened, especially in terms of the targets sanctioned and players sanctioned and in the small time he's been here. Ivan Gazidez as well. Again, the track record of employers in people being employed in such positions isn't working. And has this proven that this collaboration thing that we're trying to do hasn't worked? Because now, obviously I don't mind Edu and Arteta. Again, the jury's out on Edu. Obviously I've got a lot of time for him and stuff, but he hasn't been in that position to see a body of work. So the jury's still out. But, you know, he's an ex-Arsenal man. He should know what Arsenal players are. Arteta the same. Hopefully they can collab together and things, which they've shown for some transfers, you know. Allegedly, you know, they've come together and it's a Guendouzi art thing. You know, they've come together and they found out Marie. So again, I'm all for Arteta having more power, especially because we want him to be here longer and things. And to be fair to the Kroenkes, I think someone added me in a thread once. They said in their NFL games or whatever sport they played, when they have a young player, young manager, they tend to back him. So are we giving Arteta more power because we want him to be here even longer? Again, we don't know if it's going to be a long-term success or not, people. But yeah, man, like for me, ultimately, you know, the only war he won was against Mislintat. He wanted to keep Unai Emery, South American contacts and all these things to push us to the next level by a footballing wise and commercially. I haven't really seen it. To be fair, you know, if somebody scrutinises that, it might say differently. Ultimately, for me, a lot of promises that haven't been delivered because Aubameyang is still here. If Aubameyang ties up, if he was involved in giving Aubameyang a new deal and whatnot, then there's things to happen. And as a player, I wonder what they're thinking because they must have obviously been briefed that this is going to happen because for obvious reasons. But what are we doing as a club? Are we going to bring in a sporting director or another managing director? You hear Vinay is a very you know, well-respected individual within the game. And again, I'm not saying, you know, at some level he has to be a footballing man. Like Deluded is evidently not a footballing man. Do you get it? You can be a banker or a lawyer or whatever position, but be a footballing man or woman. Do you get it, people? And you don't. Is that the case with Vinay? I don't know his background. Was he necessarily a big football fan? And obviously he's doing his job to get money because that's the difference. We need people that love football at base level. You look at Bayern Munich; they're all in different positions, but ultimately they've played the game and got a love for the game, so that's also on top of being smart in their roles and whatnot, that's helped. So I wonder what's happening, man. Has it just been Kroenke's not seen eye to eye? I don't know, people. You know, the track record, like I said, of hiring Deluded and the Mislintats and Sanllehis, you know, as a whole, I've got a lot of time for Mislintat, but these three represent moving in different models and none of them necessarily have worked for the benefit of the club when you look at the long term. You know, Mislintat, you know, he brought in a couple of decent players. For whatever reason, it didn't bang. Raul Sanllehi was here in Barcelona and stuff. To be fair, I'm not saying it's easy, but when you work for Barca, half the job is done. Not happening. So, yeah, you've employed three men and we've not really seen a sustained model of the club, really and truly. There could even be further changes, like allegedly people are saying Hosfami could actually depart as well. Again, that's all hearsay. He's been here 3 years apparently, allegedly. You're hearing there's a thingy, a lot of question marks in relation to how we've been dealing and paying to agents. There's rumours that, you know, we've overpaid to agents and there's been money on back end. And again, that's that's where it could go wrong, you know, where you're trying to benefit your chums in the game and stuff like that. So we'll have to see, man. You know, Vinay will remain MD, and part of the decision to part company with Sanllehi was to have one clear voice at the top. And again, that tells me that the collaboration thing we was talking about is dead, and it kind of backs up what some people are saying is when you've got too many chefs, it spoils the kitchen, it spoils the recipe or whatever. In isolation, it looks good. When you've got Mislintat there, Raul Sanllehi there, and Edu there, you know, working under a model, under all of them, a head coach. In theory, it sounds all good, all working together for the club, but we've got to remember in real times, these are all very different individuals with different ways of seeing things. When we work together as people in life, it's great, but when it works, when it doesn't, it's problematic. And too many, like I said, too many chefs in the kitchen, it spoils the meal. So that's showing you that ultimately we want one clear voice from the top, one clear sort of thing. For me, it makes Arteta's job easier because there's less politics and the blurs are not really there. Like, to be fair to Unai Emery and previously Arteta, you know, there's too many things. Imagine you said I want this centre half. Edu is saying yes, Vinay is saying yes, but Raul is saying no, and you know Kroenke isn't going to sanction this. There's too many politics. So at least in theory, again, there could be other changes. Other people could lose their job. People could be brought in. if it's Arteta and Edu, and then again they have to answer to the Kroenke and Vinay's there, then there's less people really and truly, so then things can get done and there's more clarity. For me as well, obviously you want to see these things get resolved as quick as possible because the market is still early and still very young. But for me, seeing my club, you know, so we say it every year since Wenger's left, and even with that, we face one of the biggest summers, but there's a lot of things that need to be doing. You know, we need to renew deals, get players off, bring players in, and you know, we're not going to be able to do too much of that until these situations get resolved. And again, you know, we've got enough people and we're a big enough club to be able to handle multiple operations. But let's just say we were to get Partey or Gabriel and things. Right now, with Raul Sanllehi's thing being announced, how are we able to complete them deals with all this uncertainty? Now, we just confirmed Willian the other day. The club must have known for a number of days or some period that Raul Sanllehi was going to leave. Like, we found out today, you know, I highly doubt at midnight, you know, he was told he's going. It could have happened, but surely this was happening for a while. So we'll have to see what exactly is going to happen, people. We're really going to have to see what's going to happen. Arsenal obviously issued a statement in the morning. It said, "We are announcing today that head of football Raul Sanllehi is leaving the club. On behalf of, you know, the owners of our club, the Kroenkes, Raul has been said as well. Josh has said, Raul has made a big contribution during his time with us and will always be part of the Arsenal family. We thank him for his hard work and expertise and wish him every future success. We have no doubt that Vinay is the right person to take the club forward. He has shown outstanding leadership during the current crisis and is held in high regard internally and externally." Obviously, he's actually been here 10 years now, really. So we're hoping, Vinay, you can do this thing. He said, just ignoring that sort of part, people. I don't think it's of relevance. They're obviously saying the usual tease people with, you know, returning Arsenal to the top and things like that. But the key thing you could see is while football faces uncertainties as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm confident Arsenal will emerge strongly and look forward with confidence. Raul said, "I am proud and pleased with the contribution I have made at Arsenal over the past 3 years and look forward to enjoying the club's future success. Arsenal is a true footballing institution. I am proud to have been part of its history and I thank Stan and Josh Kroenke for this opportunity. Working with Vinay, we have built a top team for the future. Mikel has made an extremely positive impact since his arrival and has formed a strong team with our technical director Edu. The academy is in very safe hands with Per, and Huss Farmi is a talented and highly capable leader of our footballing operations. Personally, I now look forward to taking some time off and spending time with my family and friends before setting work on a new challenge and cheering Arsenal on to great things." So we don't know if he's going on to a new job, or there could be another reason, you know, personal reason as to why he's left his position, people. So, you know, ultimately, I don't think, you know, Raul Sanllehi has been a success at this club. There's no long-lasting legacy. Promises have been failed to deliver. You know, we want to see that we get both the commercial, the financial and the footballing operations all spot on, because like I said, we have a tough summer and what we do off the field directly correlates to how we perform on the field next season, because we're playing catch up in many different incidences. But we'll have to see, man. But you know, Raul Sanllehi, you know, I'm sure you've tried to do your job in the best way you possibly could. So with that, I thank you and wish you all the best in the future. You know, again, I'm pretty sure he sanctioned Denis Suarez. So again, there's not too many blades of glory to really cover him in it, really and truly, if you was to do that. But there's not much to say, really and truly. It is what it is. We wish him the best. I'm keen to see what other developments happen at the club and who replaces him, if anyone replaces him. But I've got nothing more to add, man. On that note, it's always a pleasure. People, DG, I'm out.